Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name's Rachel and today we are out in my garden. I actually wanted to talk to you about succulents today. We know that succulents are marketed as this great low maintenance houseplant. Everybody has at least one, I'm sure. But what you might find is that after you bring that succulent home, it looks great for a little while and then it starts stretching towards the light, it starts losing its leaves and starts dying. And actually I find that succulents aren't really that well suited to being in our homes just because we cannot give them the right amount of light. They need a lot of sunlight to keep them in that nice tight sort of rosette form that we like to see. And of course there are succulents which don't need as much light. I'm thinking about those burrow's tails, like strings of pearls, strings of hearts. They still need highlight, but maybe you won't see that loss of form if they don't get as bright a light as they need. And of course you can always put them under grow lights, but not all of us have the space or the money to have those kinds of setups. So I've actually stopped keeping a lot of succulents in my house just because I could not stop them from stretching towards the light. And so what I found happening was every time I went to a garden centre I would be drawn towards sedums, sempervivums, stonecrop, those kinds of plants which are essentially succulents which can be kept outdoors all year round. In my opinion, sedums are a great substitute for succulents because there's so many different varieties. I have one here which is super cute. It's got all these tiny little beans on it. It almost looks like one of those jelly bean succulents, and because it's been in full sunlight for the last week or so, it's starting to get some really nice colour on it, like these sort of yellow parts of the leaves, and then going to darker green in the tips. And then I've got this other one here which also has some great pink colour on it, and these two they were $2.99 each from my local garden centre. I don't really know what they're called because they didn't have any labels on them, but I mean they look so cute. And then I got these two individual ones as well, and this one looks a lot more like your standard succulent, but really cute. And this one as well. And the best thing about succulents that you can grow outdoors is that a lot of them are hardy to -5, so you can keep them outside in the winter and they're not going to die, and they grow really easily. So literally sometimes all you need is just a cutting and it will grow and spread. So these are some sedums which I've had for a couple of years now. They are just growing in a terracotta bowl. There's actually two types in this bowl here. So I've got this one, which I can't remember the names of any of these, I'm really sorry, but this one's really cute. It's grown so well. I think I got it in a 15 centimeter pot from IKEA, and in the sunlight you can see that it gets this beautiful pink tips to them, and it has yellow flowers which the bees really love. And then right next to it there's another type here which has these kind of really beautiful flat sort of greyish green leaves and little pink flowers which haven't quite opened yet. This one's done flowering already. You can see the sort of spent stalks right over there, and then this one is just about to flower here. And this one with the pink flowers is a perennial, so it dies back in the winter and then grows again come spring. And this one is an evergreen, which is really lovely because it means that I've got some green still in the garden. And I actually had two plants, so this one is just in a plastic trough here, and it was, when I first got it, I think I planted it in one end of the container and it has just spread all the way across it. It's doing really well. And then right next to it down here I have another one which looks a little bit like a jelly bean plant, and I really love this one because it has grown really well for me. This one gets reddish pink tips in the sunshine. This is also an evergreen one, and so I have it planted in another terracotta pot, and I had it next door to another pot. And what it's actually done, so this is the second pot here, it's actually grown over into that pot and taken over whatever plant used to be in here, which has actually died. So they are really, really super strong growers. And then I also have this beautiful one here, which is currently flowering. It hasn't really come back as well as I thought it would. This is the tag for it here. So it is a sedum red collie, and it's a perennial. So again, it dies back in the winter and grows back. But I mean, it's only grown back a few little stalks on it, so I don't really know whether I need to cut it back or what to make it a bit fuller, but it does have these beautiful pink flowers, which I'm sure the bees are going to love, especially since it's the end of the season right now. So yeah, these are sedums, which I currently have. I've had them for a few years, and there's such a great variety out there that I've been picking them up throughout the summer. Every time I go to a garden centre, I find a new one and get it, and so I wanted to plant it up into a rock garden, and to take you along and show you how I do that. So this is the lightweight stone effect trough, which I'm going to be using to plant up my rock garden. It's actually pretty heavy, even though it's lightweight, but it's not half as heavy as if it was real stone. And so the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to fill it up with half this very coarse Alpine grit. It's like a horticultural grit. This will serve to keep the soil really loose and well draining. So I'm going to use 50% of that, and then 50% just a multi-purpose compost. And there are 2 holes in the bottom of this trough which are really important to allow water to drain out, because sedums, sempervivums, and anything that grows in an alpine garden does not like to be soggy, and especially in this country where we get so much water, it really needs to be well draining. And then we're just going to give this a good mix together. Okay, so I've got all of the soil really nicely mixed together now. You can see that it's a very stony sort of mixture, which will help with the drainage. The first thing that I'm going to put in here is actually this. I don't know if you can see that. It's a really big stone crop. It's called a sedum ruby crowned. And I got this for £10 from Homebase, and it's got these really, really beautiful pink flowers on it, and very large sort of dark burgundy purpley kind of leaves. And I'm going to put, because it's quite big, I'm going to pop it into the corner of my pot to start everything off as an anchor. And then I can put the smaller things in and around it. I'm just going to take off some of the soil and some of the roots here so that it fits into this corner right at the back. And then just infill the sides and press it down into there. Right, so now I can take my smaller items and see where I would like them to go. Now, with these 2 in particular, they tend to be spreading and trailing, so I would put them right at the front in the corners of the pot, just so that they've got that room to sort of spread and trail over the sides. Maybe I'll put this one back in this corner here. I've also got this guy here, which has the cutest little fleshy sort of leaves coming out onto tendrils, which have then little flowers onto the end of those. This one's actually been eaten by something, which is really annoying. If you can see, there's a few chomps been taken out of some of the leaves. But I think this guy might go in the middle here. And then these ones can maybe go around the edges. And what I find when I'm doing a sort of an arrangement in a pot is I like to just put them in there first before I actually plant them, just to see how they look, and then you can easily move them around without having to take them out of the soil. So I think these three will go in the front here, and then we'll just dot these around the back like so. So I'll take this one out to start off with, and we'll start with this guy. And then I'm just going to spread some extra horticultural grit around the edges of these plants. This is mostly just as a top dressing. Hopefully it will stop any animals like squirrels, because I get a lot of squirrels in this garden coming down and trying to dig up into the soil. So this is what the finished Alpine garden looks like at the moment. All of these things will grow out and fill the top of the soil here. So I have left it quite sparse because I don't want things to get lost in the mix when everything starts to grow. But yeah, I'm really happy with what it looks like at the moment, and hopefully everything will do really well in here, that there's enough drainage. What I did notice when I took these guys out of their pots was that they were in an incredibly sandy mixture. Like it was more sand and grit than soil, so I'm hoping that the mix that I've put in here will not retain too much moisture for them. Oh, and then also as I was unpotting this guy, some of the leaves broke off, but what you can actually see already is that there are roots on the end of here, and so it should be quite easy to literally just poke them in here. I've got a couple which fell off, but they've all got roots attached to them, so you can even just lay them on top of the soil and they will grow, and it's super easy. And then one more thing that I'm actually going to do is to cover up some of these sparser spaces. I'm going to take some of these, they're literally just rocks that are in my garden, and I'm just going to arrange them in the gaps, and I think that will kind of make it look a little bit more finished. It will have another little sort of texture to it. It adds a bit more interest, and then as the plants grow and expand, I can remove the rocks to give them more room. But yeah, I think that looks a bit better now that there's things in the spaces. So guys, that's all for this video. I hope you've enjoyed being out in my garden with me and planting up an Alpine garden. Next time you are in your local garden centre, have a look for sedums, because they come in so many different colours, different forms, with different flowers, and you know, they're all super easy to look after. So if you fancy having a go at these outdoor succulents, as I like to call them, pick some up. They're really cheap and they're quite addictive. Once you get one, you'll want to literally collect them all. And I'll keep you updated on how this rock garden grows. In the meantime, please subscribe, click that like button down below, let me know if you enjoyed this video, and we'll be back to some more normal houseplant videos in the coming weeks. Thanks for watching. Bye.